Good morning, everyone, and welcome into the Friday, August 20th edition of Leading Off, presented by Manscaped. My name is Brendan Tuma. You can find me on Twitter at TooMuchTuma. With me again is the boss man, Dan Harris, on Twitter at DanHarris80. And Dan, as I mentioned, it's late August, it's summer, it's time to be going to the beach to take midday nap. Did you have a relaxing Thursday yesterday?
I did. I did very little. My voice doesn't sound like this for any reason other than I slept. I took an 8 hour nap. It was fantastic. Now, yesterday was our fantasy fest for football. Go Cards! I want you to know, baby, you're always teasing us about leaving baseball behind. I am here. All right, I am on like my third straight day of 4 hours of sleep. I'm here with Tuma. It's a great day on the fantasy fest, but I love baseball. I mean, I finished my day watching the Mets have another putrid offensive performance against 17 relievers. So let's go. Let's talk some baseball. I love it.
Yeah, Dan was texting a little bit last night. It must have been 11:30 midnight, making waiver wire claims. So
It's true. I was not a
just,
joke.
just because Fantasy Fest dominated the day, that does not mean he did not tune in to baseball at night and catch up on all the latest news. That's what we're gonna do for you guys here today. I think there's no other place to start. Another day, another Joey Votto homer, his 27th of the season. Over the past month, he's hitting 349 with 16 homers, a 1.278 OPS. Analysis.
Joey Votto's good. I'm looking something up. Hold on, hang with me. Let's look this up because Votto is yeah, this is hilarious. So when you look at Joey Votto, who very clearly made a conscious choice to just hit dingers, as I do, and you look at his fly ball percentage, right? In the beginning, it was 36.5% in the first month, basically out of all of May, 0%, June, 30.2%, July, 46.3%, and August, 50%. In the second half, he's got a 47.1% fly ball rate. He's just going for dingers, man. And I love it. I love that he is so talented that he can just be like, you know what I want to do? I want to hit more home runs. So I'm doing it. He's fantastic. Joe is not here to argue against the very obvious Hall of Fame case, which I assume you were on, right?
Yes, very
Okay.
much. First
Yeah.
ballot.
Just fantastic. And again, I like to give kudos to you when you make a right call, especially because it's so rare. That you were on the Votto train right from the start. And I didn't understand. I was like, Tuma, he's 1,000 years old. Like we've seen decline, but you were on this right from the start. He's had an awesome season. Absolutely awesome. Kudos to you, Brendan Tuma.
Thank you, sir. Someone else I've been a fan of for a while, Shane McClanahan. He threw 5 innings of 1-run ball with 8 strikeouts. And again, I've been talking about swinging strike rate a lot on this week on leading off, but among pitchers with at least 90 innings, he ranks 7th in the league. That's just a very good sign for his outlook moving forward. I kind of think similar to Patrick Sandoval, as we discussed the other day, he's going to be an offseason darling, an offseason breakout candidate of a lot of fantasy analysts. I know I'll be interested in him heading into 2022.
Yeah, it's almost it's not bad that his sort of, breakout, quote unquote. He's been a usable fantasy starter for sure. But now that he's really getting into it, especially with the Rays needing starting pitching, so they let him go every once in a while. He goes 6, he goes 7, he only went 5 yesterday. But with the strikeouts, is that again, this is the time when fantasy managers are, as Go Cards will tell you, moving on to football a little bit, they tune out. They miss a lot of stuff at the end of the year. So this is when people are going to be like, McClanahan, yeah, the guy the Rays babied a little bit. He was fine. But you look at his strikeout numbers over his last several starts, 7, 6, 7, 8, 6, 8. Man, I'm telling you, it's good to see because I think we all worried a little bit with the Rays and they had pitching depth, whether or not he would just be eased back, but he's not. He's certainly for next year outstanding. But the rest of this year, especially with pitchers dropping like flies, yeah, he's a guy who's going to win people some championships.
Yeah, and I do think when you look at him, you can look at that swinging strike rate, and that's what points to the success. Another great start yesterday, but someone I have no idea what's leading to the success is Madison Bumgarner. Kind of similar to Joey Votto, another old wily vet kind of reinventing themselves when a lot of people wrote them off. I know I had zero interest in Madison Bumgarner entering the season. He had 8 innings of 3 hit ball, allowed 1 run, just 5 strikeouts. And again, during this recent stretch where he's been good, he doesn't have a ton of strikeouts, but that's okay, honestly, because the ratios have been elite, elite.
Yeah, it's bizarre world. I love that. Like we're like, let's talk about Joey Votto and Madison Bumgarner. What I want to look up right now, which I'm doing, it's loading a little fast, it's, loading a little slow. So I apologize here, but hold on, I'm getting it up. I want to see his velocity has been like way down, right? Like
Yeah,
hasn't it been right? I mean, I'm looking at it now. I mean, it's. I mean, hold on, I got to get the fastball up. Sorry. Only the 4-seam fastball. That's the only pitch I want. Give me that. I don't know why it's giving me all pitches. All right, I can't get it right now, but it's been way down. I remember looking at it saying like, what is happening right now? Look, he's got some soft matchups on the horizon, right? He's got something
yeah.
easy coming up right now.
He's got a 2-start week next week for the Pirates and Phillies.
This is when I have a pitcher like this. I'm not the guy who trusts the pitcher who's like, I don't know how you're doing it, so I'm not buying into doing it. Like I want to know how you're doing it. I don't buy in. But with those matchups, given what he's doing right now, as the wily vet, I guess you got to start him for that week. But man, I don't feel comfortable with it at all because of the fact, like you, I cannot explain what is happening right now.
Yeah.
But with those matchups, I do it.
Yeah, the spin rates are way down, the velocity's down, as you said, so it doesn't make sense. I do kind of think the shoe's going to drop here on the other side, but is that the same? I have no idea if that's the same.
No. What the shoe's going to drop on the other side?
The other shoe's going to drop.
Okay, yeah, it's fine, Tuma. You can say the other shoe is going to drop. You're good. You're good. Or the shoe's on the other foot. Actually, I don't even know what the right saying is, but I can tell you that is not it. So keep moving. Blow right past that.
Okay, that was bad. Also bad. Alex Bregman. We got news yesterday that the Astros have no update. This is beginning to be becoming a bit of a weird situation where we don't know. Like Alex Bregman, his last AAA rehab assignment game was 10 days ago, and since then we have no news. You got to hold on to him. There's nothing else you can do, but it's frustrating.
Yeah, this is the worst part because it's not even like Trout, where I feel like Trout's never been super close to returning, right? There were like a couple of reports like, oh, he's running at 78%. Yay. But it's never been like, cool, we're there. Bregman, I put in a lineup one week, Brendan, because I was like, he'll be activated Tuesday. And suddenly it's completely backing off. It's really frustrating, but I agree. There are certain players that you can drop at this point because they're not coming back. I mean, you can say Trout even if you wanted. I wouldn't. But with Bregman, yeah, because I feel like it's just as likely that they're going to be like Alex Bregman shut down for the season as they are Alex Bregman's going to be back in 4 days. So you just hold him, grin and bear it. But yeah, this is incredibly frustrating for fantasy managers.
It is. Someone who I would not suggest dropping is Freddie Peralta. He was placed on the injured list, but it does sound like it's going to be a short-term thing with that shoulder injury he left his most recent start with. Look, the Brewers kind of had a tough situation with him anyways, with the workload management coming up. So this could, similar to what we saw with Carlos Rodon and the White Sox, this could, very well be there's something extremely minor. Let's just shut him down. It'll help keep the innings in check anyway. That's kind of the read I have on the Freddie Peralta situation.
My only worry about it is that he left in the middle of a start. So it'd be one thing like with Rodon where you were like, cool, we're going to start. And then like, no, shoulder fatigue, we're going to rest him. And you were like, all right, man, I get what's going on here. But I am a little concerned with the fact that he left in the middle of the start. Now, him getting a rest is good for the Brewers. They have an 8.5 game lead over the Reds. That division is pretty much locked up. Ooh, I'm about to hit my over on my preseason bet of over 82.5. I like that. Anyway, sorry, totally sidetracked. But I do think that I'm mildly concerned because, again, he didn't look good in that start, and then he came out. I think this is more troubling than Carlos Rodon. Either way, you're not dropping him, of course, but they did need to limit his innings anyway, so even if it was something minor that he might have pitched through, they'll put him on the IL. But mildly more concerned than Rodon.
Look, I think it's an important reminder that this time of year in fantasy baseball, you kind of do need depth because this is going to start happening. Bad teams are going to shut down star players, especially more as we get into September and everything. So I'm not saying that's going to happen with Peralta necessarily, but it is a reminder, you can't just bank on who you have right now. You're going to need depth as the, injuries pile up in September.
Yep. Absolutely. It's absolutely right. And especially with pitching, like no matter which, because
Mhm.
what's also, Brendan, is again, it's not just teams that are out of it that are like, we're not going to push guys, stuff like that. It is teams that are in it and doing really well and are like, we don't need to worry. Like, why are we going to push a guy like Freddie Peralta way past his innings limit? What are we going to do with Brandon Woodruff, who also hasn't looked good suddenly, and things like that, as opposed to a team that has to keep going and stick in it, like with Zach Wheeler and the Phillies, who also didn't have a good start, but there's no shutting down Zach Wheeler. Like even the innings, he's not shutting down. He's going to keep going because the Phillies have to win to try to stay in contention.
Yeah, that's a great point. And that's kind of our last down here, a combo of Zach Wheeler and Brandon Woodruff, two guys who have been aces this year. They both had bad starts. Wheeler, 6 earned runs in 6 2/3. Woodruff, 6 earned runs in 5 innings. I'm not concerned one way or the other. They've both been pretty good recently. I think it was just a bad day at the office.
The only thing I will say is that you do get a mildly concerned with everyone. I would anyway, just given what happened last year, Brendan. I mean, you look at Zach Wheeler, 71 innings last year. Wheeler's a horse now, which kudos to him. That's what he's turned into. But I mean, he's got almost 170 innings now. He's already put on 100 more, and we are on August 20th. Like, it is possible. And other than that start against the Mets, Wheeler's been he's in little cracks, a little bit, tiny bit. So that is also something else, which is we're basically in uncharted waters right now, right? We have no idea exactly what it's going to do with these workloads. So again, pitching, wherever you can find it, hold on to it. Do not feel good about your pitchers, because it is possible that some of these guys with these massive jumps in innings, if you're still pitching to this point, that is what you have, are going to start kind of, slowly breaking down a little bit. So just be wary of that.
And that's why you guys need to pick up Touki Toussaint for his weekend start, because he is a Tuma approved starting pitcher at Rickman.
That's all I'll care. I need a Tuma approved starting pitcher for sure, always.
A lot of standouts from Thursday. Luis Castillo, man, 7 scoreless with 7 strikeouts. He had 15 swinging strikes against the Marlins. He just completely turned his season around. I know he was bad last time out, but this kind of avenged that. Again, if you just look at the stats, from June, the middle of June on, a reminder there's a lot of talk about dropping him. Obviously, he deserved to be sat at that time, but players that good, typically come around. We've seen it. Freddie Freeman had a slow start, guys like that. If you use a top 2 or 3 round pick on someone, you really want to stay patient with them.
Yeah. Castillo, I'm trying to put it the way I could say it. I guess what I would say is in the Matrix, right? At the end of the second Matrix, do you know a movie in the Matrix that came out before you were born? That they, I'm kidding. That like the guy, the machine, like the old man who kind of the architect, I think, of the Matrix says, hope, it's the quintessential human emotion. It's at the same time your greatest strength and your greatest weakness. My greatest strength and my greatest weakness as a fantasy manager is the fact that I will hold on to these guys forever. And so Luis Castillo, I was never dropping and I wasn't selling. Like, regardless of where he came out in the trade chart, like even if somebody offered me kind of a fair deal for it, I couldn't pull the trigger on it because I don't want this to happen. Now, sometimes these guys are just bad and they don't rebound. This happens with everybody. But a guy like this, I just feel like when there's no obvious explanation for it, Brendan, and you and I looked at it, right? We looked at his stuff and we're like, well, he's doing this, but there was nothing obvious to explain. I didn't see anything why Castillo was struggling. In that situation, if you can't find it, if you don't have the reason, if you can't project it going forward, you just kind of hold him. And I hope that now, given what he's come back from, he's kind of earned the respect of fantasy managers enough so that if he goes through a similar stretch next year, they'll just sort of write it off,
Yep, exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of players like that. I think that's what makes fantasy baseball fun. The different types of leagues you play in, the different type of manager you are. You've talked about how you rely heavily on your projections and everything from the beginning of the season. Brandon Lau, we talked about him earlier this week. Again, he had 2 hits, a homer. He now has 20 homers in his past 63 games. So if you stuck with him as if he's on any Dan Harris team, you definitely stuck with him and you're reaching those rewards now.
If you had any Dan Harris team, you never even thought about getting rid of him. He is not on any single Dan Harris team. He is on a Dan Harris head-to-head opponent this month. Mayor's still here, always here. Hope is not a strategy. It's not a strategy, but I hope Shawshank Redemption. Right, Bellinger, who has been better like of late, right, but still. Bellinger was a guy who I was like, that was a guy because again, that's not a track record long enough, as good as he was, but there was something for that, right? Number one, he had been battling injury. Number two, again, we had never seen anything good after his MVP season when he said, I'm changing my stance. The most ludicrous thing that anybody has ever said in the history of all mankind. So that one, I felt like there was a little bit more justification for. Luis Castillo, again, I didn't see it. Like, I didn't see maybe a couple of pitches were being hit harder. There wasn't anything really in the velocity. There wasn't anything in the movement. I just didn't see it. With that, I was just basically trying to totally write it off if I could.
Yep. Do you think I'm making too big of a deal out of this Yankees playing time situation? Because Wednesday night, Anthony Rizzo played first base. Luke Voit didn't play. Last night, Luke Voit gets in there as the DH. He led off. He had a big 2-run double. The team's red hot right now. They've won 7 in a row, but they did the Aaron Judge in center field, Giancarlo Stanton in right field defensive alignment last night. I just don't think they can do that every day. I think someone's going to get squeezed.
Yep.
I don't know if that's just then a sit recommendation for Voit or Stanton or whoever's the odd man out.
Yeah, if you have daily lineup moves, then it's a little easier, but I don't think you're making too much of it, Brendan. I mean, I don't think that you can realistically say, Luke Voit, you're a bench player, okay? Because when he's healthy, he's too good. But I think Rizzo pretty much is going to play. Number one, they need to balance out the lineup with lefties. Number two, he's great defensively. So they want him in that lineup. So I do think you're going to see more of a rotation. But I think both of us were a little worried based on Cashman's comments or whatever, weeks ago, which was like, I don't know, I guess Luke Voit, this happens, you get Wally pipped or something like that. I don't think that's really going to happen because Voit is hitting decently well enough to sort of keep it. But I do think that there are going to be more days off for each of these guys. So not too much out of it. But I think maybe both of us sort of being like, no, let's get rid of this. Maybe that's a little too much. But I don't think that they're just all going to be everyday players.
Something I'll definitely be monitoring as we move forward here in late August. Some other standouts from Thursday night. Jorge Polanco, 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs. Since July 1st, he's hitting .314 with a .943 OPS and 12 homers. Amazing. Tyler O'Neill hit a go-ahead 3-run homer in the Cardinals game. He now has 3 homers in his past 6 games. Similar to kind of Avisel Garcia, I looked at Tyler O'Neill's season-long stats. In Roto Leagues, he's up to 21 homers and 9 steals. The batted ball data on Baseball Savant is fantastic.
Yeah,
It even suggests he's been underperforming. So he's someone who I could see him, again, trying to take a little early look ahead to 2022 being an off-season darling for us.
Yeah, the steals especially are awesome, right? And, when we look and when I do projections, stuff like that, and we always talk about it, I used to remember it with Freddie Freeman always. Freddie Freeman was like, I'm just going to chip in the 5 to 10 steals here just to help you out. And nobody really talked about it because his bat was so good. Those are huge. I mean, he had never stolen, and again, he had never played more than 61 games in a season, but he had only stolen 1, 2, maybe 3. The fact that he's added 9 steals is great. What does worry me, obviously, is the fact that he's got a 32.1% strikeout rate. And again, that's low compared to his career rate, which is 33.1. But those are the types of guys I generally gravitate away from. But yeah, in the end, look, he's batting .274. He hits the crap out of the ball. And now in the end, if he stays healthy, and again, he's missed time. Remember, he's only played in 97 games. He's going to wind up with, obviously, 25-12 in a shortened season. Yeah, man, that's an under the radar guy that people don't really talk about that much, but realistically, his numbers are really helping you out.
I'm with you. I usually hate the big swing and miss Gallo, Miguel Sano types, but so far on O'Neill, I was, when he was popular early the season, I was fading and it's hurt me a bit.
Yep. Yeah. Not my guy at all. Usually that type of guy.
Yeah. Some final standouts, Mitch Haniger, 2 for 5 with the homer. He now has 27 on the year. It's been a great season for him.
Career high, right? Career high? 27, I think. Yeah.
I don't have that stat actually in front of me, so I'm not.
I'll look it up. I think it was his career. I think 26 was his career high. Go ahead.
Mitch Haniger's kind of the type too. Like there hasn't been a ton of analysis on him. I feel like he was just, here's a sleeper beginning of the season. And if you've rode him, then you've kind of just enjoyed that. Production.
Harris nailing it. 26 was his career high. So 27 is his new career high. Yeah. He's having a fantastic season. And he's sort of a guy. The best part about him is these types of guys, Brendan, I'm sorry. I know I'm talking a lot on this episode, but I'm half asleep. So all right, cool. He's the type of guy who he doesn't win you your league, right? You're not like, holy crap, I drafted Mitch Haniger and he's going to hit 32 home runs. It's going to be amazing. But when you have that guy, as you could draft him as probably your 5th outfielder this year, and he's just been in your lineup all season long, and he has just constantly put up numbers. Like, he doesn't single-handedly win you your championship, like I said, but he is part of a championship winning team. Like, there are going to be a lot of teams that won because they just had a guy that they spent 0 draft capital on. There are guys like this every single year, guys that just get overlooked because, it's mechanic or whatever. So when you're doing your draft prep, as you will with us next year, of course, everyone, those are the types of guys you really want to be on the lookout for in your later rounds.
Yep, big floor guys. Just wrapping up these standouts, Matt Chapman did hit his 5th homer in the past 6 games. He's heating up in a big way. Make sure he's rostered. Andrew Vaughn hit another homer. He, since the middle of June, has been great. Jared Walsh had 3 hits. I wanted to highlight him because he hasn't homered since the All-Star break. He's hitting under 200 since the All-Star break now. And is that a guy that you'd consider sitting then? He was so productive in the first half of the season, but there were some warning signs, and we're kind of seeing that come to fruition now.
I mean, I'm not dropping him, but he is somebody who I'm going to sit for sure in the short term. And again, he was injured, right? Did he have the intercostal?
Yeah.
Is that what it was, right? Yeah, okay.
He's coming back from that as well.
So I do think that it's fair to say that a guy like this, you've seen this before, Brendan, right? Like these guys who are on these hot streaks and maybe overcoming some of the underlying issues that, scare guys like us, but are doing okay. Sometimes I think about them, if they get injured and they have to take several weeks off for this, it wasn't that long, I think, that he was sidelined with the strain, but that really messes with their rhythm, man. Now, he can find it again, even with the things that scare us about it. So I'm not dropping him, but in the short term, I have 0 issues just benching him for now and letting him find himself.
Mm-hmm. Some duds from Thursday. Spencer Howard, 2 innings, 5 runs. Who cares? There was some optimism he could be better after the trade. It hasn't happened. Jamison Tyone, a huge bummer because he had a shutout entering the 6th inning, but then he gave up 3 runs, so the final line wasn't that good. But he is still someone to roster down the stretch. He's been a lot better as of late. Diego Castillo blew the save for the Mariners. Paul Sewald ended up getting it, but we just had Steckenrider get the save the night before. So do you care about the Seattle situation? Is it just if you're desperate chasing?
If you're desperate chasing, everyone has value, but we talked about it, I think yesterday, what it was is like, give me the Tyler Clippards of the world who I know are getting the save, even on the crappier teams, pardon my French, on those teams. Give me that guy over the, Mariners situation where, okay, it's going to be one of a couple of guys. I don't really know who it's going to be. So you not only need them to win several games, but you need to be betting right on that particular day. So I'm avoiding those types of things unless I'm like, oh my God, one save is going to win me the league. Then fine. Other than that, get out, man.
Yep. And lastly, a couple struggling Mets. Nothing new
what?
there.
What?
Yeah. Jeff McNeil went 0 for 4. Michael Conforto went 1 for 4. I just wanted to note that Conforto, the expected stats are a lot better than his actual stats, and he has been better recently. So if I had to choose between these two, it would be Conforto. Do you feel the same?
It's not close for me. McNeil, first of all, McNeil is clearly not 100%. I mean, if you watch him, kudos to him. He's playing through it because the Mets are, dying with injuries, but he's not 100%. Conforto, he went through a really, really bad stretch. I mean, he was injured, but he went through a really bad stretch where he looked completely lost. I like his at-bats. I pretty much watch every Mets game pretty closely anyway. I like his at-bats a lot right now. He's actually somebody who, if I'm looking for someone down the stretch, he might be available because people might have gotten rid of him. I actually think once they get past this horrible streak where they're just playing the Dodgers and the Giants and all that, I think he's actually going to get really hot. So Conforto is a guy who I'm not only barely taking over McNeil, I'm actually targeting down the stretch as someone who I think is going to help fantasy managers.
Agreed. I did look it up. I think tonight they face the Mets face Walker Buehler, and then tomorrow night you face Max Scherzer. So
no big deal, man. They're fine. They're totally fine. Everything's fine. This is fine. This is burning. This is dog drinking coffee in his burning house. This is fine. Don't worry.
If you're watching live with us right now, or you're watching the playback on YouTube, Fantasy Pros MLB, you'll notice that I have shaved my face as of yesterday. I did not shave. But now
you look good. You look good. I mean, you look like you're 17. But you're good.
Haven't seen The Matrix, by the way. That
got
cut off.
Is that actually I have no idea what you get into the raid. No, that can't be true, right? You know The Matrix, please. No,
I've heard of it.
Brendan Tuma. Okay, you have an assignment now. I know you're the hardest working man in show business. Okay, because you do a lot of work for us, and this isn't your full-time job until I take over the entire company and just hire you and Mayor and Wonky Penguin and Go Cards to work for us. But regardless, carve out some time, Brendan, and watch the original Matrix. Like, I don't know what you're doing, but that is something. Like, you don't know when somebody says, "Do you want to take the red pill or the blue pill?" You don't know any of that, like what any of that means or anything. No.
What year did Matrix come out? Do you know?
90. I'm gonna guess 99. Wonky, tell me in the comments. I think 99 is my guess.
Okay, that's a little more bearable. I was gonna say sometimes if you watch like an old movie these days, just the graphics, it can be too much. 99,
you don't have to
I can
watch
live
The
with.
Godfather, Brendan. Okay, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. But I think 99 Wonky confirms.
There
Yes,
it is.
amazing. I hope everybody knows before you get into reading. We're off the rails. I don't care. All right, I'm half asleep. We're doing this. Cancel Tuma's right. I am a major cinephile. Okay, like I was the nerdiest kid. I memorized every Oscar winner going back to like 1970 because I am obsessed with movies. I work with someone, Kyle Yates, who I love, but who's like 10 years old and has never seen a movie. Tuma, I refuse to accept this from you. Okay, so we're going to get you on the movie train. We are Peanuts and Cracker Jacks. Go to Discord, start throwing out like newer movies. Okay, we'll do a cutoff at like 95 for Tuma. Start throwing out movies from this. Yeah, the go-kart, The Godfather is probably the greatest movie of all time. 1 and 2 is great, but give me a break. I know Brendan Tuma. He's not sitting through The Godfather right now, unfortunately. Tuma, do your ad read. Why are you letting me talk so much? Go ahead.
I did shave yesterday, and for anyone who has grooming needs coming up, you obviously want to use Manscaped, especially the Lawnmower 4.0. What makes this different than any other trimmer? It's got a new multifunction on-off switch that can engage travel lock. It's perfect for if you are someone on the go. The Lawnmower 4.0 gives you the ability to turn the 4000K LED light spotlight on and off when needed for a more precise shave. And the new trimmer also allows you to customize your trim all over through additional guard lengths with sizes 1 through 4. You can get 20% off and free shipping with the code leading off when you go to manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com.
Well done. And you do look good all clean shaved and stuff like that. But now I know why you haven't seen a movie that came out before 2005.
I'm going to quickly fly through the news and notes here. Trey Mancini returned to the lineup yesterday, but he went 0 for 4. Jose Urquidy beginning a rehab assignment. Edilberto Mondesi is beginning a rehab assignment, as is Byron Buxton. So a lot of guys potentially returning. Keep an eye out if you have these guys in your league. No longer is Jesse Winker expected back when first eligible. That's a bit of a bummer. Carlos Rodon is expected back for a start early next week in Toronto. I would feel comfortable activating him. Mookie Betts claims to be pain-free after he got that hip injection, which is good news. It sounds like, really reading the tea leaves on this one, that he probably won't go back on the IL again. It's going to be fully about pain tolerance and pain management. And so I could see him sitting every few days, but feel good about Mookie Betts down the stretch. And lastly, a prospect note that I got to get in here. Mackenzie Gore was added to the rookie ball roster. This guy was one of the best pitching prospects in baseball last year, and now he's all the way back down in rookie ball. But at least he's back because he hasn't pitched since June.
I know. This is the problem with prospects, Tuma, and you can talk about it more than I can. Love prospects, but it's so difficult to project their growth. And again, you say it that prospect growth isn't linear. So, who knows what we can see. But yeah, the fact that that's where Mackenzie Gore is just like mind-boggling at this point,
Homer update entering the weekend.
Oh, yes. Sorry. I think yesterday was, not great, but 902 dingers. We're going to fly past 1,000 for sure. We are going to show Joe. Joe did not make a home run call yesterday. I don't know what he was doing. Get it together, Joe. Helpless in Miami, up to 19. Home run 3 days in a row. Way to go. Other correct calls, JJ Tater with Votto. He's up to 15. Jeremy Hall, also Votto, up to 12. Everybody's just Votto, apparently. B Stores up to 5. MMB Hart up to 5. All with Votto. And M Gavin 83 calls Stanton correctly, up to 3. So probably a newbie. I love it. I love still the newbies. Randy 26 as the leader. D Gordon Liddy 24. Joey P at 23. Lawnmower Man 4.4 and Wonky Penguin at 21. A bunch of us at 20. I am still on the board and still ahead of Mike Mayer at 18, which is all anybody should care about right now. So yeah, keep the home run going. Remember, I will make a home run call. Tuma, I don't know if you want to do it as well for the entire weekend or whether you want to be in Discord and make one, but my call, who I've come up with, and I have a specific strategy for my weekend home run calls now. I'll make my call for the entire weekend.
Okay. Are you making it right now? You gonna
Let's
put
do
in
it at the
Discord?
end. Let's do it at the end, and
Okay.
let's talk DFS very quickly.
Okay, DFS tonight. Obviously, Friday night, always a huge slate. We have Chris Sale back. There's a lot of good pitchers going tonight. Chris Sale, Robbie Ray, Max Fried, Walker Bueller, Lance McCullers. Do you, Dan, have a preference among any of these aces? Again, I always say you got to build your lineup around an ace, so that's where I'm starting, but you are going to have to pick one of these guys.
I mean, I if I can build a lineup around it, I will probably go with Walker Bueller just because I think the Mets offense right now is just really not there. So I think that you can easily go against them. He's 11-6 though on FanDuel and 10-5. So that's kind of a little bit of up. I actually want to know, Brendan, do you prefer, because they're basically priced similarly on both sides, do you prefer Chris Sale against the Rangers or Robbie Ray against Detroit?
I would go Robbie Ray, mainly because I might be too in my head about this as a Red Sox fan, but they are just so outspoken that they are not pushing Chris Sale. So I could see another, honestly, 5 inning outing unless he's extremely efficient and they let him go 6. But I'm still kind of tempering workload expectations for Sale. So because of that,
I
I'll lean Ray.
I will lean Sale, and if for the couple of reasons that one, the Red Sox need to win, Brendan, like everything else goes out the window. But the other thing is like there are people talking about peanuts and cracker jacks. There are some offenses right now that you can just freaking hammer, man. Like you can just go to town on against whoever is facing them, and Texas is one of them right now. So I am going to go with Sale over, Robbie Ray. Detroit is fine, but Detroit, they put up a fight. I don't know how many runs. I can't remember how many runs they scored yesterday, 11 or whatever, but I'll go with Sale there and I'll lean there, but it's going to be one of those guys. I'm not going with Blake Snell. Lucas Giolito is good, but against the Rays just makes me a little nervous and everything like that. McCullers against Seattle, Max Fried against Baltimore. That's not where I'm going. I'm probably going with Bueller if I can make the lineup, but if not, I am going to go with Sale because I do think that he's going to have a monstrous start in this one.
We nailed the Yankee stack yesterday. They're in play again tonight against someone named Charlie Barnes pitching for the Twins. The Braves against the Orioles and Keegan Aiken, and then the Blue Jays versus the Tigers and Tyler Alexander's. Those are their best offenses. Those might be expensive if you need some cheap lineup builders. Again, Luke Voigt, make sure he's in the lineup. Jorge Soler, Adam Duvall, Cesar Hernandez, Yuli Gurriel, and Tommy Edman. Do those all sound okay to you?
Yeah, actually, what's funny, Tim, is when we were texting last night about waiver wire pickups, because I'm in the finals of the FantasyPros Insider League, and I'm the baseball guy, right? So I want to win it. Somebody not in the finals is Joe Pisapia, by the way, so let's always remind him of that. But you can make waiver wire pickups on Thursday for the rest of the week. So I was trying, that's what I was texting you and Mayor about in the middle of the night when you're fast asleep and Mayor and I are just getting going at like midnight. And I was like, man, I gotta find where I'm going with this. And in the end, I made bids. I don't know if I got them yet, but I made bids on 2 guys, and they were Jorge Soler and Adam Duvall. So those are the guys who I went after tonight. So I'm glad that Mayor, who builds our DFS notes right now, because Mayor is the man, agrees tonight. So definitely in on both those guys for sure tonight, Soler and Duvall.
Yeah, man, if the Braves have a full weekend slate against the Orioles, that could be very good for their hitters. And do I see here in the notes, is that where you're going with your home run?
That is exactly where I'm going. That is my weekend strategy, is to find whoever's playing the Orioles, especially if you are in Camden Yards for sure. And that's where I'm going. I'm going with, look, the original for me, right? The guy, one of my poster children in the beginning of the year was Austin Riley, and only Austin Riley. So he is going to be my weekend home run call. I would call Soler, I would call Duvall, but I'm relying on them on my personal sort of leagues probably right now. So I don't want to mix and match. We'll go with Austin Riley.
Okay, yeah, and Austin Riley's your boy. I'm just going to go with Rafael Devers. I am going to the Red Sox game on Saturday night, so hopefully,
yes, maybe you'll catch another ball. Does everybody know about that? Did you talked about that on like Monday's pod, right? About the ball from
Mayor and I on, yeah. So
Brendan, I have been, because I've been alive since the 1800s. I've been to 1,000 baseball games. I used to have season tickets to the Mets. I have never once gotten a ball from a player, or caught a foul ball, or caught a home run ball. And I have really cute kids, and I have taken them to the game, and I have like held them over like the home run fence to try to like get someone's attention. That's really cute kids. Never once. So congratulations to you. I hate you. And I hope you get another one from Devers for you.
Yeah, thank you. That's what I was telling. I was there with my girlfriend for the first time, our first game together. I was telling her I never got a ball before, and then it happened that night. So that's a good sign for
Amazing.
the relationship, I think.
Amazing. Yes, that's right. That's exactly right. You guys, you better invite me to your wedding. I accept being your best man. Thank you for the invite. It's good. We're good.
Yeah, I'm gonna wrap us up here. It went a little over, but that's okay because it's Friday, it's summer. Dan needs a relaxing weekend, as we
I
discussed.
told Tuma, by the way, Tuma, as the very cute host, was so like I could see his face getting nervous as we hit like close to the half-hour mark. And I was like, Brendan, it's the end of August. The only people listening and are people who like baseball and are really into it, or who for some unknown reason really like us. You can push it past the half hour. I'm not going to yell at you at this point anymore. So thank you, Tuma, for letting me just talk and talk and talk because I'm delirious.
That sounds good. I'm going to sign us off here again. I'll try to do better than yesterday sign off. It's been a week. If you are still playing fantasy baseball, stick with it. Again, this is the time of year. It does admittedly get tougher, but if you've made it this far, we didn't come this far to only come this far. Stick with it. You got this. Get those lineups in. We'll be back next week. Leading off for Dan Harris on Twitter at Dan Harris80. I'm Brendan Tuma at Tuma. Have a great weekend, everyone.
I can't.